Dave, two very different 1-0 draws in the last week. Having had a bit of time to reflect, what's been your takeaway from both of those games?
Um, yeah, like you say, two different results, two different performances. Probably if we're really honest about how the games look, we probably should be a point better off. Maybe should have won one and lost one. And in some instances, maybe that would be more acceptable because you get more points. But I think we have to look at performances, and even from both games, what we did well, what we can do better. From Saturday, we were looking for a reaction just in terms of how we went about it, which we certainly got. It's just getting that balance right between playing and when we play, to when and how we can increase the tempo of the game to try and create opportunities, which we did on Tuesday evening. I think we can do it better, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that when you have the dominance that you have in the game, that you need to win that game. And even if you come away and you win it 1-0 and we've not conceded from a set piece in the last kicks of the game, if you like, then fair enough. That wasn't the case, so there's a disappointment around that, but pleased with large parts of the performance, especially after what we saw on Saturday.
In terms of getting that balance right, is that something the players need to figure out for themselves out when they're out on the pitch?
No, not really. Again, that would be the easy thing to say, wouldn't it? Because you're advocating responsibility then. And just from a player's perspective, I wouldn't expect them to say, we need to be told what to do. You have to get a feeling. But I think you get that feeling regardless of whether you're sat in the stand, sat on the bench, or out on the pitch. And it's giving, again, that'll be different against different opponents. It'll be different with different parts of the game. It'll be different based on the scoreline. It'll be different based on have you just been under the cosh for the last 5 minutes or little parts of the game. So them bits you've got to have you've almost, it's not reading the room, but you've got to read the environment, and have a feel around what you're doing. But we still don't want to go away from what we still want to create chances. We want to create good chances. We want to create opportunities to score. We want to make sure we have territory and make teams defend. We did that at times. I think we can do it. We can do it better. But the pleasing bit was the control, and at least we saw some of the things that we've worked on, and we've worked long and hard on over the pre-season and the start of this season, which is real positive. There's always going to be tweaks around what that looks like, depending on personnel and what we've got on the pitch. But it's a constantly moving, I suppose, objective for us in terms of how we get better and how that still translates into picking up results based on our performances.
I mean, it's 6 draws in your last 8 games now, but I think, as you touched on there, almost if you could look at 4 or 5 of them and say probably should have won on the day. Does that make it more frustrating, or are you able to draw the positives from that in terms of not being far away?
You can look at it both ways, can't you? I can sit here and be frustrated, which potentially I am, but that does nobody any good. So what we have to do is, and we do that in victory or in defeat, we'll draw the positives from games. We'll draw the bits we need to work on better, and that'll always be the case. So would I have liked to have won more games? Absolutely, but that's not going to change. We can only affect or learn from what's happened previously and affect what we do tomorrow and Tuesday and next Saturday and next Tuesday, because the games come thick and fast. And if, as a consequence of those frustrations previously, we're better on Saturday in a different test, in a different challenge, then that will be a positive, and that will be beneficial. And if we win the game, then, or win the next few games, then maybe people aren't looking back at what we've done over the previous 6 or 8.
You've spoken a lot recently about players needing to take their opportunities when it comes along. Sam Hughes has had to be patient since joining the club. Came in for Fraser on Tuesday night. How do you feel he did?
I thought he was excellent, and that on the back of his his partner being pregnant and him rushing away from the game soon after, and having a baby boy, I think delivered in the early hours of Wednesday morning. So congratulations to him and partner, and baby doing well. But yeah, he has had to be patient. He picked up a little injury against Blackburn in the Carabao Cup game, and has had to bide his time. But I think I've said it over the previous weeks. You look at Odin, you look at Pauli being out the squad. Hughes is another one who has waited, has got an opportunity, and like I say, and performed really well in the game on Tuesday. And we have the competition within the squad. I keep stressing it. I can't stress it enough to the players that are out. You have to be patient, and sometimes that's difficult because everybody wants things to happen immediately and are really keen for that to happen. Sometimes that's not the case. We'll have players coming back into the squad over the next few weeks. That squad's hopefully only going to get bigger and bigger and more competitive, and we can only pick 11 to start the game, and we can only pick 7 apart from the FA Cup to be on the bench. So it is a competitive squad, and that will continue to be the case, and that will and should drive and motivate players to make sure, whether it be a Saturday or a Tuesday, or whether it be out there every day, that they're at the maximum and they're at the best.
To the left of Sam, a man that's been getting a lot of praise from the supporters recently has been Ibi Toure. Finished last season really strongly, and he looks to have carried that into this season so far, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Ibi had a tough season last season for him, and it's probably helped in terms of, or not helped, but maybe made us reflect as a coaching group and above, that when you expect new players to come into a club and hit the ground running, sometimes it doesn't always happen. Even when you're not moving house or moving into an area or moving to a different division you might be playing in, or playing in a different position at that club, or different expectations at the club. So Ibi, he said, listen, made some mistakes last year at the start when he was in the team. Like I've said, with mistakes, they're fine as long as they don't continue and the same mistake doesn't happen over and over again. And he is, I suppose, living proof of that. He's been, like I say, he's been really, really steady, which I'd expect him to be. Not extravagant by any way, stretch or form. Defends well, attacks proficiently. Obviously got Louis in front of him down that side. So I suppose the more he can feed him the ball and get him on the ball in good areas, the better we're going to be in terms of an attacking and offensive force, which they've done really, really well. So listen, there's competition for that position. There was always going to be, but at the moment he's got the shirt and he's performing really, really well, and long may that continue.
Injury-wise, it's been good to see Will, Maka, Ryan Rydell back out in training again. How far are they away from being involved in the first team again?
Depends how much we rush it, and I don't see that being the case. Probably in order, I'd probably say Will, Ryan, Maka, largely because Maka's been out for the longest. So they all, realistically, if I wanted to play them, they could all be involved this weekend. The reality is that won't be the case. I suppose with the amount of games we've got coming up, I expect that will be involved sooner rather than later, and we maybe look a little bit further down the line for Maka and Ryan, maybe looking towards the FA Cup game, maybe looking towards the Tranmere game to get some a start or to get minutes into their legs. That's where we see it. If things change within the current setup of the players we've got available, then that could be fast tracked. But ideally, we'd like to be, especially with those two, a little bit cautious, because they've been out for a long time, and certainly in Maka's case, has had a really unique injury around football. So we've got to be really, really careful. His history tells you that, especially with the injuries he's had over the past few years, that if we can be a little bit cautious and we can aim to make him more robust, or as robust as possible, then everyone will benefit from that.
On Lincoln, great job that Michael's done since going in there. Unlucky not to reach the playoffs last season. I suppose regardless of the 2 defeats they've just had, you'll be expecting to face the best version of them on Saturday.
Yeah, regardless of the 2 defeats they have, what they do is they're pretty basic around how they play, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all, because Tom Shaw, their assistant's on my pro licence, and he'll tell me off for that. But they continue to ask you questions throughout the whole game. They know their strengths. They work their absolute socks off. They'll go and be really, really aggressive. They'll make you defend from minute 1 to minute 90. And they did exactly the same against Crawley, even though they lost the game 3-0, conceded 2 counter-attack goals. But they're always in every game because of how they play and the pressure they put you under, and they're good at it. So the biggest threat in the league, I think, from set pieces in terms of goals that they've scored. Great quality from corners and free kicks, a long throw both sides. They'll send bodies forward. They'll be really aggressive with a press, and really, really good at counter press. So we know what we're going to face. What you have to do is deal with that, and then try and stamp your mark in terms of what you want the game to look at upon the match. So that'll be the test. That'll be the game. We'll have to deal with first balls. We'll have to drop on second balls. We also want to play if we can. But we want to give ourselves the best chance. In order to give ourselves the best chance, we've got to deal with all of those things that I've just said. And if we do that, then I think it'll be a good game, and a game that we go there certainly capable of winning.
You will be backed by another sellout away crowd, around 1,500 county fans, which should make for a great atmosphere.
Yeah, maybe for a great atmosphere if we're at it and we're doing things that we do well, because the support we have, regardless of where we go, is fantastic. But again, I want to see an improvement on our last away performance at Charlton, and we were backed by big numbers there, and we've got a good away record this year, and we want that to continue. So I've no doubt that the supporters will give the players all the backing that they need, and I hope more than anything that we can go and perform and pick up 3 points.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.